Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rocky Reger. I'm one of the owners of USA Kilts, and on behalf of myself and my wife, I want to thank you immensely for what you guys are trying to do with us and help get masks to the people who need it. Before we start the video and the tutorial, 3 quick things. One, when you are sewing, or before you start sewing your pattern pieces, please Lysol wipe down the work area. Make sure there's no bacteria there. 2, please wash your hands once an hour or so while you are actually sewing the pieces. We want to make sure that they stay as sanitary and as sterile as possible. 3, wear the face mask that we are giving you. It is your pattern, it is your your finished sample of what it should look like, but also please wear it while you're sewing the masks. Now, here's Mac.
Hi guys. So now that you've received your kit, you should have a finished mask in there, which will be your example. You should have your silver treated filter material, and you should have your outer layer, which should be 4 pieces, is the polypropylene. You should have 2 pieces of elastic. There should be one of each size. There should be a shorter one and a longer one. And you should have your black thread. This is the thread we're going to use to sew the whole thing together. And we're going to start with your outer layer, the polypropylene. All the seams are a quarter inch, so there's no changing everything around. We're all going to use a quarter inch from start to finish. We're going to sew this curve first. And now we're going to move on to the second set. Also going to sew that curve. And lastly, we're going to sew the curve on our filter piece. We're going to sew this line that runs down the center, and all that is going to keep this seam from flopping over to one side. We're going to push it to one side. We're going to top stitch right in here, right along that seam edge. This will help in the end when we go to flip it to keep the seams to each side to make it a little bit more balanced, so you're not going through such a thick layer in the middle. So there is one. Do the same thing with the other outside piece. And now I'm going to flip this one opposite of that one. So that way the good sides are going to go together. This is what's going to create the outside and inside. We're going to take our filter piece. You can do the same, top stitch it. I like to top stitch it just to help keep everything a little bit more on the same plane. Alright, so now we're going to sew a quarter inch in around the top nose section here. So you'll notice that the 2 seams, one is folded this way, one is folded that way. Again, we did that on purpose just to keep the seam allowance in the middle, so it's not as bulky in there. So now we got that top edge sewn. We're going to take our filter piece and we're going to put that around that same edge there, so all the nose sections match up. we're gonna sew around that edge following the stitch line you just put down. So now we're going to pull that filter layer down to match the bottom edge of the two outer pieces, and we're going to sew a 1/4 inch across there as well. So now we've got all our pieces sewn together here. Now we're going to take this and you're going to go right between the two outer layers, and we're going to flip it right side out just by pushing it through itself. Now you're going to roll your fingers along there, kind of flatten out that seam, and we're going to top stitch right across the bottom. Now we're going to do the same for across the top. You're going to have to kind of maneuver that a little bit more, and we should have a little bit of a curve there around the nose. Right now we're on a little bit of a tighter setting. You don't want to go too tight with these, because this is a non-woven material, so it will make it a perforation on there. So if it does pull, it could potentially rip out. So we want to try to stick with a little bit looser. You don't have to go too loose, but you don't want to crank her down either. So now we're going to take our ends, we're going to finish off our edges. We're just going to fold and fold again. So it's about a 1/2 inch total, so you're just about a 1/4 inch and a 1/4 inch. So now I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. Just going to roll and roll. All right. So now we're going to attach our elastic pieces. Again, you should have two sizes. It should be a longer one and a shorter one. Shorter one is going to go down at the bottom. Longer one's going to go at the top. So we'll start with the shorter one. you're gonna go about quarter, half inch up. I guess it's about half inch up. Start with the elastic facing out so that the length of it is towards you. The shorter end is towards the edge. We're just going to tack that edge down. And now we're going to fold it back towards the edge. We do the same with the top. Tack the first edge. Now we're going to fold it back towards the edge. And tack that down. And we're going to repeat the same thing for the other side. Trimming up the threads there. And then push the nose back out. And then you have a finished product. Also guys, as we were making these, at least this stack, we tried it a couple different ways. We tried in doing them individually as just from start to finish. And we also tried them doing them assembly line, where we took 10 of them and did all the outsides, then all the insides, and then did all the elastic all at one time. Everyone works at different speeds. Morgan, who was here earlier, who was working on them, she did them as full pieces. I did them as assembly line. We were both even speed. So you try different ways. One way may be faster for you, one may be faster for someone else. We were both about equal speed doing in opposite ways, but doing the other ways, we were a little slower. So have fun, enjoy. Good luck.